Most high performers are sabotaging their future health without even realizing it. They may not necessarily be overindulgent or plagued with vices that everyone knows are unhealthy. No, most high performers will fall into a trap of passivity. I'm going to show you how to avoid that today by using the concept of compound interest to massively multiply the results of every health habit you deploy. Hey there, I'm Erica Jones with Elevate.com, where we're helping high performers weave wellness and longevity into their daily rhythms. Most high performers have a default mindset that there's never enough time for work, there's never enough time for productivity, and they also overestimate how much time they have to invest into their health. It's in the consistent rhythm of prioritizing work over wellness or having routines that sideline healthy relationships, which are a key indicator of your mental and emotional health. It's in the patterns that promote high stress, followed by unhealthy ways of relieving that stress, and then calendars that leave little room for the things of most importance. I'm not saying that we have to be perfect. A missed workout or staying up too late happens on occasion. What I'm more talking about is when the daily rhythm of life becomes a perpetual stumbling block to the things that many high performers say that they value: health, family, relationships, etc. In order to fight against this, you have to repeatedly and intentionally drive against the inertia of being passive with your health, of thinking that you have more time when it's not really guaranteed. More pointedly, you must take full advantage of the wellness window of opportunity that narrows and eventually closes once you reach a certain age. So to understand this concept, we'll examine the idea of compound interest, a principle most recognized by the financial industry, but one that also applies to your health. Before we go any further, I do think it helps to observe some of the similarities between the financial and wellness industries. It can help you avoid many of the common traps people fall into and apply the principles of success from one industry to the other. So first, both health and wealth building can feel like a puzzling process. It's complicated to the average person. There's lots of information out there on how to be successful with your money and with your health, but a lot of the information is conflicting with multiple paths to progress and failure. Because of the overwhelming amount of information and lack of clarity on how to get the best results, both of these industries have a high failure rate. And because of this, quick fixes are routinely advertised. Strategies that seem too good to be true are commonplace, which leads to an abundance of scammy solutions that don't work long-term and high levels of skepticism amongst consumers. The other thing about health and money is that consistency is required. Building a muscle of discipline and consistent habits over time is the foundation for your success, not just with your money, but also with your health. It's also why so many people struggle to find success in these two industries. One other similarity in health and wealth creation is the compound interest effect. So what is compound interest? It's in financial terms, it's the interest calculated on the initial principal or the amount that you invested and the accumulated interest from previous periods. This is so powerful because not only are you earning interest on the principal amount, but you are also earning interest on the interest. It creates this snowball effect that makes it so much easier and faster to build wealth. Similarly, with your health, you can also create a compound interest-like result. And you do this by investing into your health during what I like to call the wellness window of opportunity. This makes it much easier to build optimal health for today and longevity as you age. The wellness window of opportunity is an optimal period of time when making changes to your lifestyle and investing in your health is highly effective and produces compound results. It's the stage in life when the body is most adaptable and responsive to lifestyle changes, creating the biggest long-term impact on health and longevity. Just like there are prime windows of opportunity in business or in investing, there's a prime period where small, consistent habits yield a massive ROI for your health. Now, this can be different for everyone, but the rule of thumb is that the younger, the better. I've also read articles and publications emphasizing the decade of your 40s as prime time to make changes if you haven't already. Because in your 40s and even beyond that, you can still have a substantial impact on how you age. A recent Harvard study followed over 100,000 people in a 30-year period, and participants were at least 39 years old and free of chronic disease at the onset. The subjects submitted dietary questionnaires every 4 years, and the findings were remarkable. First of all, only 9.2% had survived to age 70 in good health. Good health was determined to be free of chronic disease and in good physical, mental, and cognitive health. Those with healthy diets were up to 84% more likely to age in good health compared to those with the worst health outcomes. Good health was determined to be free of chronic disease and in good physical, physical, mental, and cognitive health. Those with healthy diets were up to 84% more likely to age in good health compared to those with the worst health outcomes. Now, while I wasn't surprised by the correlation between healthy eating and healthy aging, I was a bit shocked that so few of the participants made it to age 70 without chronic illness. This is just another reason why you should start today investing in your health right now rather than later. The default is not promising. So here's a few more reasons why you should invest in your health now if you need further convincing. Number one is that the older you get, the more challenging it gets. There are ages and stages of life where the body and brain are more plastic and responsive to inputs. Similar to imprinting years in a child's youth, the younger you are, the more opportunity you have to impact your health as you age. So take advantage while you're young or younger, because sticking to new habits can become more difficult the older you get. Number two is that metabolic plasticity shifts over time. Metabolic plasticity refers to how adaptable your body systems are to change. It can impact your ability to lose weight, to build muscle, to reverse chronic disease, and more. The younger you are, the higher the plasticity. Number three is your intervention opportunity is limited. Lifestyle changes between the 20s and 40s are more effective for preventing illness and chronic disease in later years. And number four is the cumulative load of poor health. When you have decades of poor diet, lack of sleep, high stress, and inactivity, this can create changes that are much difficult to reverse as you get older. And number five, cellular health declines as you age. Mitochondrial function declines, making it harder to feel energized enough to even make those lifestyle changes. Number six is increased risk of chronic illness. The risk of chronic disease climbs with age. This is just another potential impediment to making lifestyle changes if you choose to wait. The majority of adults, 6 in 10 actually, are already living with at least one chronic disease. 4 in 10 have 2 or more. Now, thankfully, most of these chronic conditions are preventable and even reversible through a healthy lifestyle and intervention in that way. But the longer you wait, the higher your risk of developing chronic disease if you haven't already. By age 35 to 64, 80% of adults have at least one chronic disease, and this number jumps to over 90% after age 65. Again, the longer you wait, the more difficult the changes become. Another Harvard study found that healthy lifestyle changes implemented earlier in life can add up to a decade of disease-free living. Wow. So your time is a limited resource, and you don't have unlimited amounts to make an impact on your health. That's why I encourage you to start today, right now. To nail this point home, I did a dumb thing that most 20-year-olds probably would have done at my age. I used to work for big pharma in my mid-20s, and while I hated the job, absolutely hated it, the employer offered a 401k match for every dollar invested up to a certain amount. Now, my 20-year-old brain did not fully compute that I was leaving money on the table by not taking full advantage of that match. And I have regretted that decision to this day, because I left money on the table that would have accumulated to many thousands of dollars at this point in my life. It was a learning opportunity for me. I missed a key window of opportunity, and I will never let that happen again. This is just one of the reasons why I'm so intentional about my health and about my money. So what about you? What are you doing with your wellness window of opportunity? Are you leaving quote unquote health on the table in exchange for convenience or your comfort, or for closing that next deal while you're potentially trading years of your life? What will become more difficult for you to do in 5, 10, and 15 years if you wait instead of taking action right now? Think of the person who doesn't plan for retirement and waits until their 60s to start saving. Now, starting in your 60s is definitely better than never, but it would have been a lot easier to start in your 30s, your 40s, or even your 50s. Prioritize your health now on your terms, or do it later with potentially lots of pain and fewer options. If you want a simple way to ease into wellness without the over-the-top routine that requires a 5 a.m. wake up and hours of meditation, check out my 5-minute daily routine for entrepreneurs and high performers. This one actually works in real life. The link is in the description for you. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please hit that like and subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. And until next time, make time for what matters.